Thank you, Janine. I'm sure that by now you've all noticed the Icsei 2017 brochure and your Icsei M&Ms in your kits. And so we really are here to tell you a little bit about what to expect next January, 7th to 10th, when the Ontario Ministry of Education and the University of Ottawa host Icsei 2017 in Ottawa. Chris and I have the honor of being the co-chairs of the Congress Organizing Committee. So we want to give you just a little bit of background and introduce you. Actually, I think there are several people who are part of the organizing committee and some of the subcommittees who are here with us today. If you're on one of the Icsei committees, could you please stand? Great, thank you. And just so that you'll know, we will be making a bit of an appeal for additional volunteers, reviewers, and sponsors to join us as we move forward over the next year. This one. Okay.
So as co-chair of the 2017 conference, I and my colleagues at the University of Ottawa are going to be really excited to invite you to Ottawa next January. I know, January. As a researcher in Ontario, for me, one thing that I strongly value are really the relationships that I have with practitioners and policymakers, and I think that's probably true for many researchers in Ontario. I actually think we're extremely lucky to have those kinds of partnerships, and it's actually this Congress with our theme of collaborative partnerships that then will give us a chance to highlight, as well as give us a chance to learn from some of the others who will be visiting us from across the globe. There are over 80 countries who participate in Icsei. Also, next year is a special year because it's going to be the 30th anniversary of Icsei from when it began, so that's going to draw even more people into Ottawa.
So a little bit more about Icsei. Like the Ontario Education Research Symposium, it really does draw together researchers, policymakers, and practitioners. The focus is schools, and specifically school effectiveness, school improvement, educational innovation and transformation, excellence in education, equity, educational policy, school differences, and school effects. So the kind of themes and areas that are addressed in Icsei congresses are very similar to the kinds of things that we have been coming together about for the last 11 years. And you see the lenses are research, policy, and practice, and the nexus and the interplay between them. And the forum is both face-to-face and electronic as members cross boundaries globally for serious discussion about what works to improve schools. So every year in January, for the past 30 years, there has been an Icsei Congress in some part of the world. And it has occurred in many different countries around the world over the years. But in addition to that, I just wanted to point out to you that there are many networks. Currently, I think it's 5, but networks of people from around the world who are connecting in virtual time as well. They meet every year at the Congress, but they're also meeting throughout the year and collaborating on a wide range of different projects. So they include networks on early learning, education leadership, the 3P network, which engages the connections between policymakers, politicians, and practitioners. And Erica Van Roosmelen at the back of the room is one of the co-chairs of that network. There's a MORE network, methods of researching education effectiveness, and a data use network as well. So currently, these are the key networks, and I would encourage you, go on the Icsei website, take a look at the networks, and think about connecting with people who have shared interests from around the globe.
So about a month ago, Doris and I and many other people in the room and from across Ontario were actually at the Icsei 2016 in Glasgow, Scotland. It was an exciting time. There were presentations that people from Ontario were engaged in. They were panel members. We put on an Ontario showcase to highlight the kind of work that you people do in Ontario that help us to achieve such excellence. One of the highlights for this conference, the conference in Scotland, was not just the whiskey tasting. Only I can say that, not from the ministry. But it was actually a presentation by Pasi Sahlberg from Finland. And I particularly remember one slide where he was talking about, he had a graph, so it probably had to do with me being a mathematician. And the graph looked at correlations between high achievement as well as high equity. And what I really liked was that of the handful of countries that achieve both high excellence or high achievement and high equity, we saw that Canadian flag up there. So it was sort of a proud moment, and it certainly set the stage for us then sponsoring the conference in Canada. As soon as we put the proposal together, which was a little less than a year ago, and we put out the call to ask for people to support or groups to support, this list of supporters immediately came. All of these organizations started to write letters, and we sent in these letters of support. Since then, we've also had other supporters. For instance, the Aga Khan Foundation is now a partner with us on this project. And we also have had many individuals who are supporting. We had members here who stood up who were part of the committees, but we have members from across Ontario and other parts of Canada. We, of course, as we move forward, are going to need more volunteers and more help. So if any of you are at all interested in, well, sponsorships or volunteering or being reviewers on some of the proposals, then feel free to email either Doris or I and let us know that you would be interested, because we're going to need all the help that we can get. There's no doubt about it. So what's going to happen in Ottawa? Well, first of all, hopefully you'll be skating on the canal. The conference is going to take place in one of the downtown hotels. It's going to be at the Delta, so it's going to be within walking distance, unless you're too chilly, but to the market, to Parliament Hill, to all of those kinds of things. So you'll have easy access to that. We'll be having galas, receptions, presentations, keynote speakers, symposia, panels, all kinds of exciting things. No whiskey tasting. Maybe it'll be maple syrup. So it'll be a good time, and it'll be a great event for you to be at. Yes?
When you book the hotel, will I get money back if I receive it?
Possibly. We can talk about that later. How about that? Okay. Also, we mentioned that Icsei celebrating its 30th birthday, but we also know in 2017 Canada's celebrating its 105th, so that's going to be very exciting. The themes of our conference, as I mentioned, are collaborative partnerships is the umbrella theme, but within that we have several themes: engaging students, families, and communities, increasing equity, and challenging disadvantage, not increasing, challenging, connecting research, policy, and practice, system and school improvement, developing professional capital, and measuring educational excellence. And Doris is going to speak of a call for proposals, and the proposals would be addressing these particular strands.
Thanks, Chris. So we're delighted to say that we have a call for proposals, and a number of copies of the call for proposals were actually on the Icsei table in the exhibition area. I'm delighted to see that a lot of them have been picked up. So we hope that the call for proposals will be up on the Icsei website by Monday the 15th. If it's not there right then, keep looking. It'll be there very shortly thereafter. And so one of the things we've suggested is that we have the call for proposals earlier this year than Icsei typically does. So the call will be open from mid-February to the end of May, which will enable us to do the review proposals and have a draft program by the summer. This will really help to facilitate people coming from around the globe. So we encourage you to submit proposals. We encourage you to consider partnering with us in whatever way as an individual or as organizations that you see fit. And we hope that we'll see you in Ottawa. And in response to your question, I do want to note that we are planning a number of ways in which students, both K-12 students and university students, grad students, will be able to take part in meaningful ways in the event. So thank you for your time. Please consider joining us, and we're really excited about January 2017.